Hey, dear guests, thank you for joining us for today's webinar in the Global Reflection series hosted by Enstitü Sosyal, which is a think tank based in Istanbul. I'm Betül Ercan, working as a researcher at Enstitü Sosyal. I would also like to extend a special thank to you all for being with us in these first days of Ramadan. I wish you all a blessed and peaceful Ramadan. We are delighted to welcome Abdul Samad Khan, founder and CEO of Youth Impact. His work brings together research, leadership development, and practical engagement with youth and different contexts. His interdisciplinary background informs his approach to understanding how environments shape human development. In his talk titled How Does Nature Affect Children's Well-Being, Han will examine how engagement with nature supports children's emotional, cognitive, and social development. Drawing on both research and field experience, he will share concrete examples of how nature reduces stress, strengthens attention, and nurtures a sense of community and belonging. We are very, very pleased to have him with us today. Dr. Han, welcome and thank you for joining us today. We are looking forward to hear your insights. Please, the floor is yours.
Good evening and assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is absolutely a pleasure to be here with some amazing people from all over the world, especially in Turkey. And thank you very much for this opportunity. I myself consider myself a student of nature because being a software engineer, I ended up working in outdoors. It was apparently an accident, but later on, I figure out that my biggest teacher had been the nature itself. So that's where I developed my own theories of life, my own philosophy and ideologies of life, where in this digital world, where we feel so much distracted, we feel so much challenged, while there are so many opportunities that digital connectivity brings to us. At the same time, our young people who are facing this dilemma that what is right and what's wrong. So I feel this responsibility to bring this important topic on the surface to the educators, researchers, and policymakers. So today's in this conversation, my structure of this presentation is I'll be taking you through some personal experiences, and then we'll talk a little bit about the scientific perspective of how nature can be, a leadership or personal development classroom for children's well-being. And then from there, we'll move to some practitioners' perspective, so my own on-field experiences, and I'll be sharing some practical tips and ways how we can work on young people and kids for their mental and emotional well-being through nature. And then, of course, we'll be touching upon some policy perspectives, and that's where we'll be concluding. And we can have Q&A. So what I understand that you can post your questions in the chat, and I will be having more dedicated Q&A towards the end of this presentation as well. So my focus, as you know about this presentation today, is how nature affect children's well-being. So this well-being could be physical, mental, emotional, at times spiritual. And thank you very much, Institute Social, for this opportunity. And I represent Youth Impact, which focuses on developing kids, teenagers, youth, and professionals in Pakistan. So, yeah, moving forward, this bright picture of this young lady in this screen that you can see, she had been rock climbing, rappelling up in lower Himalayas. So what happened a couple of years back, we were doing this camp up in the mountains, and we were having some back-to-back conversations, some reflections, some sessions, some mentorship. But there was this 12-year-old girl. She was totally disconnected, and we had been observing that she was not participating in any activity. She's not taking any notes. She's not communicating with anyone, not socializing. So what happened? We were supposed to have a workshop within that outdoor setting, and this girl, she came to me and she requested that can I spend some time along with that blue river? So if you see in this picture behind her arm, you can see this blue water. So I thought, yes, why not? So we allowed her to go and sit next to the river while rest of the participants, they were busy in their own activities. So she spent almost 2 hours, and our team was there. Our safety team was making sure that, she's safe, and she's just spending time with herself. You know what happened? It was all, surprising for all of us. So after 2 hours, she came back and she was totally a different person. She was participating, she was communicating, she was interacting. And when I talked to her that, what happened, she said that when I came to this camp, I'm an introvert and I felt that maybe I don't belong to this place because there were so many people, they were active, they were participative, and they're communicative. I felt maybe I'm at the wrong place. So, but when I went and sat next to the river and I saw the current of river and I started communicating with the river, and then my mind was at peace, my thoughts were at peace, my was at peace and alignment with the flow of that river. There I realized that, wow, look at this beautiful river. It's flowing smoothly without, disturbing anything, and it's just making its own way towards its objective. And why I'm stuck with this camp and why my mind has been stuck. So why can't I go with the flow? So that moment of reflection, no teaching, no lecturing, nothing, just nature did its magic. And this girl was back into the action. So that's where I realized how powerful nature can be if we, expose our younger ones to the mountains, to the deserts, to the trees and plants and parks. So this is where we are going to deep dive into this journey tonight, this evening. So I have got this basic question over here. So you see these three different options on the screen. A says emotional regulation, B says the focus and attention, and C says it's about social belonging. So my question to the audience, maybe you can respond in the chat with your answers A, B, or C. Which area of children's well-being is most under pressure today? So, in your experience, in your families, in your communities, so what do you think out of these three options, which one is creating the biggest pressure on the well-being of our children, of our younger ones? So maybe you can leave your answers in the chat. Yeah. So, okay,
BK.
I see B.
Yeah.
Someone says C, right? A, C, B. Yeah, that's very interesting. So while you guys are thinking about the answers and you're putting them into the chat, keep responding there. Let me, based on my own experience of last 25 years working with the young people, let me share my perspective. I believe that it's all of them. It's A plus B plus C. We are operating in a very dynamic times. It's called VUCA world, where volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So our younger ones, they have their emotions under high pressure, their focus and attention, their social connections, everything is being affected and impacted. And that's where I believe that all these three problems combined together, there's one major solution in 21st century where we are 24/7 digitally connected. Actually, the answer is losing those connections. So getting out of that Wi-Fi zone and connecting our younger ones with the nature. So nature has the solution for all these three problems that you think are the biggest pressure points for our younger ones. And why I say that, why I'm so much confident, maybe I can try to prove through rest of my slides, how I believe that nature works. As I said, that I'm a great promoter and preacher, and I myself a student of nature. I spend a lot of time in outdoors. So the biggest and the most important thing is the neuroregulation, which is our brain, how it functions, how our neuron works. So there's a lot of research maybe I'll be sharing some of the elements of it, where it tells that when a young person spends times, or any human being spends time uh, close to the nature, where there's no gadget or device or a tool in between them, the that person, that young person, gets into a regulation of their neural system. So that's first thing where the nature actually works on our neural system. The second part is the cognitive restoration. So our brain is bombarded by so much information. It's so much cluttered through this digital connectivity all the time, especially the younger ones, the alpha generation, those who were born after 2013, and the Gen Z. I mean, we really feel the kind of pressure these kids are carrying these days. So, this cognitive restoration, this decluttering of their mind and their intellect, that happens in the nature, because when they spend time with those rocks, with those streams, under that tree, or climbing up that tree, or playing with the mud or sand, or swimming in that small pond. I mean, all these objects of nature, they carry that magical element, and there's a scientific proof towards that. I'll be coming towards that. That it helps them, unplug themselves from that noise from outside, and get peace inside their heart and mind. And the third thing, why nature works, is about the social connection, social softening. Because when a kid spends time in the nature, he or she observes that the entire ecosystem is living in peace and harmony. The trees, the mountains, the clouds, the wind, the water, the ocean, everything. And that's where I believe that 12-year-old girl in my camp, she experienced that social cohesion of the whole environment, that blue water. It was not hitting its head with the rock that give me some way. No, it was just swiftly and smoothly making its way towards its destination. And that's where maybe that magic happened, where this 12-year-old girl, she came back with a better sense of social belonging, and she was able to accept people, and she was able to connect with them. So these are the three dimensions where I believe that nature has its own solution. And one of my friends and my teacher is an amazing person. I have got his book in front of me. Maybe you can see on the camera. Uh, this is Last Child in the Woods. So this is written by Richard Louv. So Richard is a great educator and promoter of nature as a classroom. So he coined this amazing term called nature deficit disorder. And don't worry, it's not a medical disease, but it's a very painful social expression that we, and especially our younger ones, our children, they are so much disconnected with the nature that they got into a disorder. Actually, right now, almost 99% people on earth, they are suffering with this problem, this disorder, nature deficit disorder, which is the deficiency of nature in our life, because we are, as I said, that 24/7 connected, and that connection is taking us away from our roots, from our origin, where we came from. So he proposed an amazing solution. He says that, if you're having a deficiency, in a medical terms, like you are having a deficiency of calcium, so what you do, you take the abundance of calcium. If you're having a deficiency of vitamin, you take abundance of vitamin. In the same pattern, if you're having deficiency of nature, what do you need? You need abundance of nature. You need more time in day-to-day life, where you are having exposure to the nature, be it the sunlight, be it the fresh air, be it just all your senses, your touch, your seeing, your listening, your feeling to the nature. That's where maybe we can reverse this process in 21st century. So there's a very interesting study, and I invite you to go through that. And in that study, there was uh, this data shared from a research. by a medical institute that was working on the health of younger people. And they had got this basic information. We all know about it, that junk food combined with screen time, it results into obesity. And it's this very painful fact that more than 10% people, young people on earth, they are now going through this obesity. They are, overweight, and they're struggling with their physical health. Just a week or 2 weeks back, I was in Karachi, one of the largest cities in Pakistan. So I was attending a morning assembly in one of the largest schools in Karachi. And there were like 500 kids from primary school, the junior school, and they were having some physical activity. And the instructor asked them to sit down, and I could observe from my vantage point that there was a huge number of kids who couldn't sit properly because of they were overweight. And when the instructor blew the whistle to stand up, there was a large number of kids who took their time to, stand up. That's painful. That's really painful that where we're heading to. So yeah, that's one element. The second element in this study they shared in this book, that they compared the structured play. So they didn't stop to sports only. So on my left side on the screen, you see these kids who are doing roller skating in a rink in a very structured, organized way with cemented platform. So they compared those kids with the kids who play in the nature, who climb the trees, who swim in the ponds, or who make sand castles. So when they compared these two kind of kids, they realized that the later groups, those who spend more time in unstructured nature, who walk on uneven paths, who make their own games, and they think about their own patterns. They have a better IQ, they have better EQ, they have better social Q, which is social quotient. So even spending time in a structured sports, that's good for kids' health. But we are now talking about the next level in an unstructured environment, which is of course controlled. We don't let them go into extreme conditions at such a young age. We know there are consequences. We know there is risk. We know there is border crossing. But still, when the kid is solving problems and getting exposure to that environment, there's a higher probability for that kid to grow into a stronger, resilient human being. And moving forward towards the practitioner lens, as I mentioned that in the beginning, last 25 years I've been working. So this is one of our leadership class that I was referring to, where we had got this 12-year-old girl who got her answers from that Blue River. So nature as a classroom. So how we can rethink, uh, bringing our classroom, taking our classroom into the nature, or bringing nature into our classroom, where they get a chance to sit on the ground, they feel the earth, they touch the rocks, they skip the rocks in the lake or in the river, they touch and feel the temperature of that water, or maybe they try to swim, maybe they could swim, they could not, but at least they figure it out that how's their body responding to it, and in all controlled environment. So that's one thing we dedicatedly do in our programs at Youth Impact, where we use nature as a classroom, where our students they hike in the mountains, they spend nights in the camps, they cook their own meals, they spend a lot of isolated times where they get reflection, because we are so much busy 24/7 in our life that we don't get a chance to reflect inside. So this is where one of my leadership guru in our region of Pakistan and this subcontinent. If you know about Allama Iqbal, Iqbal was the thought leader for Pakistan. He was the man who gave the idea of Pakistan. He's the national poet. So Iqbal, one of his words I translated, he says that The institution mean any educational institution, and I'm not denying the importance of institution, but he says that the institution holds or hides the secrets of life. You can't find those secret of life in books, in degree programs, in a classroom. So if you want to find the secret of life, the answer is in the solitude of mountains and deserts. So he encourages people to spend some time in the solitude of wilderness. And that's what we do as a mantra, where we use nature as our classroom. The next level, we take nature as a challenge. So we design experiences where young people, maybe they climb a mountain, maybe they do rappelling and rock climbing, or maybe they cross a river, or maybe they do something where they need each other's help, where the perceived risk is very high. They think that, if we don't support each other, so maybe this river can take us away. We do have our safety arrangements over there. Of course, we don't throw them into those risks. At the same time, when they interact with the nature and they face the challenge posed by the nature, maybe the challenge in the form of darkness, maybe the challenge in the form of cold temperatures or hot temperatures or a bright sun or rain or the snowfall. So how do they adjust themselves? Where they need their warm layers, where they need their rain jackets, where they need to get into shelter. So, these challenges offered by nature, they teach so many lessons of life like resilience, adaptability, resourcefulness, survival instinct, supporting each other, getting together. So, as a practitioner, we rely a lot on the challenges offered by nature in our classroom. And the third thing, which as a practitioner of nature as a classroom, I would like to present over here is nature acting as a mirror. Sometimes when we stand in front of the mirror, we don't see actually. I've asked this question to a lot of young people that can you maintain an eye contact with yourself in the mirror? So most of the time the answer is negative because we are shying away from ourselves. And then there's another problem. We carry our cell phone, so we always look ourselves with the mirror of that social media. The irony is that if there is a beautiful sunset on this side, I'm looking at my cell phone, my selfie, because I'm taking a selfie. While there's the beautiful view calling on the backside, my face is on the other side. Nature, we use it as a mirror where like that 12-year-old girl, she went and sat next to that blue water. So that blue water was a river mirror for her. In this picture, you see this young girl in Malaysia in one of our camps. So we are caving and she's spending time with those amazing creations within the cave and reflecting that, how this whole creature relates to myself. At times, I saw a young boy. He was playing with ladybird. So some of us call ladybug, someone says ladybird, the tiny insect. And I observed that, this kid was playing all the time with ladybug. So I went closer and I observed, and this kid, almost 8 or 9 years of age, he was having this ladybug, and ladybug is going up. And then this kid moves his hand upside down, ladybug changes direction, it goes up. Then the kid changes direction, and the ladybug goes up again. And I was amazed by this fact and asked this little kid that, what is this thing going on? He, in his all his in innocence, he replied that, this ladybug is trying to go up, and I'm changing my direction. It always goes up. So I asked this question. Wow, what a great thing. So what does this ladybug teach you? And this 8 or 9 years old boy, he replies that this ladybug is teaching me that I should not give up. So there are so many problems in my life. I should never give up. Now look at how when you create that mirror, bring that kid in front of nature and help them, facilitate them, coach them to derive their meanings and lessons of their life. So much they can learn from nature when nature is acting as a mirror. So what we can do for our younger ones, how we can, I understand there are so many challenges. I'll be talking about briefly about those challenges as well. So I'm here to share some practical tips with all my audience that, how we can hack nature into our lives. So one important advice that I give to my participants, my fellows, that bring it into your daily or weekly structure. So maybe in your academia, maybe you're in day-to-day life, at least 1 hour for the nature in entire week of your schedule. So 1 hour of the nature. You can split into five, 10 minutes or 15 minutes slots each day, or it could be just 1 hour. So, as Richard Louv said, that we need abundance of nature. So, my calculation is that if we get pure nature 1 hour per week, our body, our heart, our mind, it starts reviving. So, it starts getting decluttered. So, that could be anything. So, you don't need to go up to the mountains or Himalayas, maybe playing with a small pet, maybe a dog or a cat, or maybe finding a ladybug, or maybe just a small leaf in your backyard. So just go and look at the lines of those leaf. That what a beautiful creation of nature is that leaf. How many lines? What are the patterns? What is the symmetry? How those tiny insects are finding their food in that small flower? How that flower is offering colors to the earth. So find anything. And if you can't find anything, I'm sure you drink water every day, right? So maybe have a transparent glass of water and just observe that water. Water is one of the amazing creation of nature. How refreshing, how full of life is that water. The moment you drink it, it refreshes, it hydrates your whole body. How I can be like that water. So, I mean, all these small, tiny interactions, if you combine them, put them into 1 hour of your weekly life, I'm sure you can revive your mental and emotional health and your children's as well. Start the day outside. When the day begins, I've seen the cosmopolitan life of Istanbul. 6 a.m. it was dark and everyone's rushing to the metro and the public transport. I know it's tough. I know the city life is going challenging. But still, while you're waiting for your transport, just for a minute, look at the clouds passing by, or maybe some seagulls or some birds there, or maybe just feeling that wind for 30 seconds. So, some direct exposure to the nature in a mindful situation helps you heal yourself and your children. A walking conversation, it's a very powerful tool. So, when we are interacting with the younger ones, with the children, so if my kid is sitting in front of me or my student is sitting in front of me, so it's confrontation, so they don't feel confidence, they don't feel opening up because you're looking to their eyes, they're feeling pressure. But if you're walking sidewise, they're not looking at you, you both are looking at the landscape over there, and you're just walking sidewise. That conversation helps younger people open up. So try to have that conversation instead of sitting in front to that person in your counseling or coaching session. Take a walk in the outdoor environment where there's sun, where there's wind, and just like conversation, you'll feel the difference between the two settings. The child will be more open in a walking conversation. Digital fasting. So we all need to role model that at our homes, at our offices, in our work. We need to set some norms. Maybe, the dining table, it's a big no-no for mobile phone for everyone, not for children, but also for mom and dad. So put your phone there. So maybe after 10 p.m., there's no phone time. Or maybe when there's a guest at home, there's no phone time. So that digital fasting rituals at home, at school, at workplace, that helps us taking those digital breaks to heal our heart and mind. And finally, having some nature hobby. Maybe teach your children to collect some stones, maybe some seashells, or maybe different types of leaves, or having a hobby to walk barefoot on the ground. Because again, there's a problem, because when we don't connect with the earth, we don't feel the connection. We think that we are different, so we are different from earth. So walking barefoot on ground actually connects them and makes them one with the earth. So find out some hobby that fits into their, lifestyle, fits into their preference, fits into their environment, and they can start connecting with the nature. Right. So having these hacks, I understand, as I mentioned, that we are having so much pressure in our city metropolitan life. So there are four important pressures, the burden our younger people are facing, and not younger people, everyone on earth. So yeah, I see someone has a point over here. Yeah, is that me?
No, it's you, yeah. You can keep on.
Yeah. Sorry. So that's just by mistake. So maybe I'll go back to my presentation. So very quickly, maybe in next 5 minutes, I'll just wrap up this presentation, and we can have your Q&A. So let me take you through those four pressures. I understand, this urbanization had been a biggest challenge, and no one other than the people in Istanbul understand this big pressure. So we are limited with our nature spaces. Our second challenge that we face, especially our younger ones, is their digital connectivity. I mean, this is something they can't resist. And thirdly, safety concerns. So our younger people, safety, security. So as a parent, we are overprotective. So we don't let them go because we are concerned about them. And fourthly, the economic pressures. So as a parent, as elders, we all face those economic pressures. So we don't have time, we don't have a mental space where we can think about creating those spaces for our younger children. So I do have solution for these four pressures, because this is where I believe, as a parent, as an instructor, and as a believer of nature. So what we do, nature as a development infrastructure. So we don't take nature as luxury. We don't take nature as something which is to be done over the weekend. Nature is the development infrastructure. This is where we need to shift our paradigm ourselves as a practitioner, as a researcher, and then we need to convince our policymakers. I'm coming to that point as well. So urban compression, that's one of a problem. So how we can create those green spaces, even if it's just a small 20 feet by 20 feet, or 5 meters by 5 meters, or just a tree in the backyard. So how we can bring those connections to the nature in our lifestyle. So that's one thing where designing our living, our colonies, our housing, where we have some kind of connection, we can see sunlight, we can get some fresh air coming into our houses, or we have some plants or indoor plants. Aloe vera is a great plant, you can put it inside. So finding some green spaces into your lifestyle helps you overcome this problem. Similarly, as you said, that digital saturation, your digital connectivity all the time. So as I mentioned earlier, the best way is to regulate it. So you can't be a slave to your mobile phone, your screen, and you can't let your children be a slave to that screen. So as a parent, as an elder, as a policymaker, we have to find how to regulate that screen time, and what are the better alternatives. What are those things that excite a children more than that screen, so that he or she is ready to sacrifice their screen time for something better? The third problem we discussed about is safety anxiety. So, yeah, we need to provide freedom, of course, a guided freedom. So that needs a lot of commitment from elders like us. where we have to find out some way where our children spend some time with their freedom, as I said, maybe trying climbing a tree, or maybe hiking on a small trail, or maybe some fishing, or maybe doing something where they're in a controlled environment, but they feel their own freedom of picking up their favorite outdoor activities. And the last thing, economic strain. I believe that as parents, as elders, we need more meaningful connection with our children, even if it's just for 15 minutes in a day, 30 minutes in a day. That meaningful connection where there's no digital gadget in between us, it's taken away, and we had this heart to heart conversation. So I believe you can continue with your 9 to 5 job. You come back stressed at home, but find that connection, meaningful connection with your children. Have a conversation, listen to them, talk to them, and that's where we can all try to create nature as a development infrastructure. And moving forward, I would like to wrap it up over here with this beautiful story from Iqbal. Again, I want to refer to that. Iqbal, in his Persian work, he narrates this small story where he says that a baby eagle, he flies down to the ocean and he finds a baby fish on the surface of water. So the baby eagle is curious and it asks the baby fish that, what is this? Baby fish, out of pride, about the ocean. She says, you don't know this is ocean, this is sea. It's huge, it's deep, it's dark. It has so much treasures in it. It has so much storms in it. So this is big, big and scary. And then baby eagle, apparently doesn't get inspired by the bragging of big baby fish. It thinks for a while, and then with a style, it starts flying above the baby fish. And it says, in Persian, it says, Sehra ast ke darya ast, tahe balo parema ast, which means, be it desert, be it ocean, everything is under my wing, so I can fly over it. I mean, all these small stories full of wisdom. So that's where maybe we need to help our younger ones to connect with our roots, with our wisdom of roots. We know Rumi talked a lot about the trees and wind and river. So why not we connect with our roots and of wisdom? We know Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he spent a lot of time meditating in that cave at the mountain of light. It was, there's some reason why Almighty Allah met Moses at the Mount of Sinai, why there is in Palestine, where is this Mount of Olives, where Jesus was taken to the heavens, why always there is a mountain, why always there is a wilderness connected with the spiritual connection. So I think there is a reason, there is a whole science behind it, that why all these amazing people had taken nature as their root. So what we should do at the policy level, my submission is that nature should be priority in urban planning. The policymakers should bring nature into our educational design principles. As I said, that bring nature into the classroom or take classroom into the nature. Public health strategy, because the nature is a solution for our mental, physical, emotional diseases. A lot of problems and diseases are younger one facing. Nature is a solution. How we can bring into the public health and child protection, so that we could create that safe environment where our younger ones can go and experience nature. And finally, I submit over here that access to nature is not a luxury, it is an essential developmental infrastructure that strengthens children's regulation, attention, relationship, and resilience at scale. So thank you very much for your kind attention. You can connect with me at Ask Impact on socials. Would love to hear your perspectives on what you think, how nature is helping us, what kind of struggles we are facing in our day-to-day life. So yeah, thank you very much. Fatma, I think we can proceed with the Q&A.
Yeah, thank you very much for this thoughtful presentation. At Institute Social, we believe that every child is born with an inner potential, a kind of spark. Much of what we do is about shaping environments that help this potential grow and come to life. As digital world becomes a bigger part of our lives, we sometimes worry that this inner potential can be affected if children's environments are not carefully balanced. At the same time, we know it's neither realistic nor necessary to remove digital tools from children's lives altogether. What matters to us is making sure that the time children spend in digital spaces does not harm their development. That's why we developed the Convention on Children's Rights in the Digital World and continue working in Turkey and internationally to support healthier digital environments for children. In that sense, what you shared today about nature is very meaningful for us because time in nature doesn't only help children while they are outdoors, it also seems to improve the quality of the rest of their time and reduce some of the pressures of digital world. So thank you again for your insights. With that, I would like to move to Q&A session. Dear audiences, please feel free to write your questions in the chat, and I'll be happy to share them. In the meantime, let me start with my own question.
Sure.
You have talked about it, but I would like to hear it more deeply. So here's my question. Many nature-based programs are structured as activities, scheduled hikes, outdoor workshops, therapeutic sessions, but there is a difference between occasional doing nature and having nature as an integrated part of daily life. If we turn nature into another item on a child's to-do list, does it lose some of its healing effects? Is the real benefit found in structured programs or in making nature an ordinary part of daily life?
Right. So great question. I believe we have reached to a point where in any form, nature in any form helps us. So of course, nature in the raw form has its own benefit and advantage. So in a very structured and raw form experiences, like I call it wilderness. So wilderness has a higher impact on our physical, emotional, because they're more well designed and targeted towards our healing process. So, of course, as policymakers, as institutions, we have this responsibility to design those experiences which have scientific evidence behind them, that how this hiking experience, how this spending time next to the river can have impact on this young person, how it could be having a therapeutic effect. So, of course, there is no denial about the structured programs, but still in a day-to-day life, if a child who spends 5 hours in front of screen and you bring 5 minutes or 10 minutes into that to interrupt that cycle, to break that cycle. As I said, that if nothing, just make that kid reflect on a glass of water, or maybe just playing a few minutes or half an hour with a pet, a cat, or maybe just observing a small tree. So, in any form, nature still has that healing power because nature brings its roots from the earth. And no matter how much we have polluted this environment, the earth is still producing that purity. All the objects of nature create that purity. And there's a scientific evidence that the trees, the fresh sun, the fresh air, everything has got those waves that heal us. So, be it structured or unstructured, I mean, we need to get out. We need to take a break from a screen and our digital connectivity so that we start getting healed. Start from your home, start today. So, don't wait for a structured hiking program going up in the youth camp. So, start it today.
Okay, thank you
Yep.
for your answer. Our Education Research Director Volkan Akgün wants to share something with us. I think he's gonna tell something about his life. Volkan Hocam buyurun.
Thank you very much. It was very nice. Listening to you. Thanks again. Sorry, I didn't open my camera because it's after the iftar. I'm a bit relaxed at home, but enjoying your speech. Thank you very much. I think the biggest difference in the East and the West is, for instance, these kind of activities in the West are rewarded. Like, if you want to, when you apply to universities in the West or in the UK, when they check your CV, your portfolio, and if they see that you are interested in trekking, hiking, this kind of stuff, they said, "Oh, it's a nice, feature.
It's a plus point for you.
Yeah, it's a plus point. So we might accept you to the university." For instance, what was the name of the Edinburgh Awards?
Duke of Edinburgh.
If you complete it, it's a plus point in the application for the universities in the UK. But here in the East, I'm specifically, if I'm talking about in the Islamic world and in Turkey, we don't have such a institute. It's not been institutionalized in Turkey. I mean, you just take the exam for the university, and it depends how many multiple choice questions you answered. So we need to institutionalize it in Turkey as well. When you apply to university, or somehow, I don't know, but we need to reward these kind of activities. And Turkey is one of the few countries that, the geography is so diverse, the nature is very rich. I remember myself, I actually took, when I was teaching in high school, I took the kids, the teenagers in high school to Lycian Way. There is a very famous trekking route in south of Turkey, and at the end, just before they graduated from the high school, one of my students told me that, "Oh, teacher, the only thing that we remember from the high school is the trekking that we did together in Lycian Way." So what you said is very important, but unfortunately, if we do not institutionalize it in our country, if there is no reward, obviously, still it's very important, or it helps you develop your character, your resilience. But still, I wish we had, the same institutionalization in Turkey like in the West, in the UK. I think you would agree with me on that point, I guess.
Definitely. I 100% agree with you, and this is a great perspective. So, this is, I take a different stance. Go a step ahead. I say that this is a shame that we do carry this nature as our classroom in the history, but West took the lead, and they are now guiding us, and they're telling that this is the right way to do. And unfortunately, we're still stuck with the traditional and conventional way of education. For us, grades matter a lot. For us, just academic performance matters a lot. But right now, the good news, right now, we are almost 33 people sitting here. We're talking about it, and we are all sensitive about it. This is a beginning, this is a journey, and I have responsibility, and yourself and every person in this session has a responsibility that we start creating that space within our own circle of influence. And we have that wisdom. As I mentioned, there were three slides. I referred to Iqbal, I referred to Rumi, I referred to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I mean, all this amazing wisdom that we are carrying as a legacy, actually, the West needs those solutions. So we need to reverse this cycle. We need to do research. We need to institutionalize it, and we need to bring it into our policy perspective that how our indigenous wisdom, using nature, using human connections, can heal humanity, not just in East, but also in the West. Because honestly, I don't have time to give you an example. When I met Dr. There was this famous professor of outdoor education in Australia. So he was my host. And he got angry from me that you are coming from Pakistan, you are coming from East. And don't you see that the sun rises or sun sets in the West? Which is a metaphorical expression that,
Yeah.
don't you
Yes.
see that what we have done with the humanity, the West?
Yeah.
So we are looking for the answers from the East. So go back to your own wisdom and tell us that how we can heal the humanity. So you're absolutely right. We need to talk more about it. We need to sensitize the parents, the institutions that, there is a wholesome development. So grades is just one element. There's so many other things which we can bring into the perspective of our children's development. Yep.
Yes, that's so right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ustad.
One of our audiences asked something through chat. I'm going to read it to you. Hello, everyone. Happy Ramadan. Apart from my family, I believe that the proper education we are discussing regarding child development in cities like Istanbul should be included in schools as a conscious, systematic lesson with a planned curriculum. And adding to his question, I would also like to ask, what challenges do you see in integrating nature-based approaches into formal education systems? Is it possible?
Excellent. This is the right question to ask ourselves, that how we can incorporate that was part of my presentation as well. The last slide says that bring it into education, because education is the systematic way of human development in our societies. So anything beyond our formal education, you have to do a lot of effort. So for example, in our case, we do youth camps. So for these camps, the students have to take out time from their academics. But if we put efforts to bring it, and there are some institutions and schools and colleges, now they're getting this realization and they're bringing those nature hour into their curriculum. So becoming green schools, becoming nature oriented schools. So I think we need to highlight some good examples, and we need to unless this whole thing comes into our education system, we can't scale it up. So that is the right direction, right question to bring it into the curriculum, bring it into the school, syllabus, school timetable, and rewarding those students who spend some time with the nature, who detach themselves from the screens. This is the right approach, and that's where I think the advocacy and the policy making has to play. And institutions like this Institute Social, I think they have a big role to play in the society to bring this thing in the perspective. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I have two more questions if our audiences doesn't ask any more. First one is, in some of our work with juveniles who have been driven into crime, we have observed that nature-based programs seem to have a stabilizing effect. From your perspective, can structured engagement with nature play a meaningful role in rehabilitation? If we introduce nature programs into juvenile rehabilitation, how can we make sure they actually help young people instead of just sounding good on paper?
Um, Sorry, I just had some struggle in understanding the question, so maybe you could come again.
I was asking if we use nature as a rehabilitation tool, is it possible to rehabilitate juveniles who have been driven into crime? How can we make it possible? How can we use nature as a rehabilitation program?
Excellent. Yeah, this is we had done some experiment here in Pakistan. So in Karachi, we had this juvenile center. So there were like 20 young boys under the age of 17. who were in that juvenile center. So when they were bailed out through the jail administration and through their parents, what we did, we took them for 5 days on a camping trip next to the beach. So no mobile phone, no toxic network, just nature. So we made them sit next to the sunset on one evening, and we told them that this sun going into the ocean, just think about it as your past life, that now it's going into the ocean, it's going forever. And then next morning, we woke them up with the sunrise to observe the sunrise, and we gave them a lens to look at the new sun with a new life. And that's where I also had my own story, because I myself had gone through cancer 17 years back. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then it changed my whole perspective. I left my corporate world and focused working with young people. So I also shared my own story that, my life before that cancer was that sun going into the ocean forever. And then afterwards, my new life was like that new sun, and it changed everything. And now I'm doing these youth camps. So we gave them hope. So the power of metaphors is very important. How you use the sun going down and sun coming up, or how you use the vastness of the ocean, or how you use the tree, that it's always giving. So, for example, if you see a tree in the autumn, so all the leaves are falling. So, one way of looking at that tree, that leaves falling down, is that it's gone forever. But the other perspective, that's where, in a structured way, we can give this lens to juvenile or anyone who is going through a struggle, someone who is going through, post-suicide rehabilitation, someone who is going through any post-trauma rehabilitation. We can show the, falling leaves of a tree is an opportunity for new leaves to sprout, fresh flowers to sprout, a fresh spring and blossom to come. So they are actually creating way for new opportunities. The same way this disease or this trauma has created an opportunity for me to discover a new. So there are so many ways to use metaphor of nature to rehabilitate and to help our younger kids get out of their past life and discover a better, optimistic, and futuristic life in themselves. Yeah.
Here is my last question, and then I'm going to close the session, if you
Yeah.
allow me. We have talked about how powerful nature can be for children's well-being. At the same time, we know children are spending more and more time in digital spaces. So let me ask this: what would need to change in digital world for us to say that time spent there supports children's well-being as strongly as time spent in nature? What would make digital spaces a true alternative to nature? And the reason I'm asking this to better understand the key difference between the two. What exactly happens in nature that creates such a distinct impact?
I'm trying to understand. So you are asking about how the alternative nature serves as alternative to our digital connectivity. Is that a point?
Yeah, what makes nature better than digital world? Whatever changes in the digital world makes it a good alternative for children.
Right. So my take on this point is that, for this generation, the screen or digital gadget is part of their life. So you can't take it away. So if we say that this is something bad, they're not going to listen to you because they trust more on that gadget than that elder. So as an elder, I need to change my mindset that this gadget is part of their life. So how I can use that gadget to help the children get away from that gadget. For example, I came across this app. I will try to find the name. This app does amazing things. So parents with younger children, they use this app. So this is like a gamified model. So you play games and there are different levels. So the way you play some game, you cross one level, you feel sense of achievement, and then you do the second level, do the third level. That's where the digital addiction happens. Now, app is gamified. So for example, level one is, so you need to go and find 5 different color flowers, take their picture. So the kid goes, take that phone, take those pictures, send it to that app, and the app scans that says, okay, excellent, you have crossed level one. Level two, now go and find 5 different unique leaves. The kid goes into the nature, finds 5 different leaves. Picture level three, go and 5 different color rocks. So now, you are making this digital media as your partner instead of your enemy. So creating these kind of programs, apps, and activities which gamify, which actually creates that excitement for the children to go away from that screen for some time and come back to the screen. They have to come back. So now they are coming back through nature. So there's now a better balance, and there's a more better connection with the nature. So I think the solution is partnering with the digital world instead of taking it as our enemy.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Thank you for your inspiring insights and for reminding us of the vital connection between children and the natural world. I'm gonna close the session. I think we are up to time. We also thank for all our participants for joining us and look forward to continuing in this dialogue in future Institute Social events. Inshallah, I wish a blessed Ramadan for all of you. Thank you for joining us. Good evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity, and have a blessed Ramadan. And may Allah provide this opportunity for us to heal ourselves through spiritually as well as emotionally in this beautiful month. Thank you, and stay blessed.
Thank you very much.
Mm.
Yeah.